The Bitcoin halving is right around the corner and approaching quickly, leading everyone to wonder, what is going to happen to price once we have the halving? Well, there's a major clue in the charts which could redefine the way that you look at the halving. Take a look. Leading into this halving, we have 7 green monthly candles in a row. We haven't done that in 12 years, dating back to all the way back to here, 2012, right before the halving, when we printed 7 green candles in a row. Once we break this down and uncover the facts, we're gonna have major clues come out, because 12 years ago, we printed 7 green candles leading right into the halving. And what are we doing this time? 7 green candles leading right into the halving. We are about to decode this hidden message that's lying deep within the 2012 chart of Bitcoin, and then we can unveil what we believe to be happening in this month as the halving is right around the corner. It's time to buckle up. Let's get into the video. Welcome. I'm Steve. Here we deliver honest, sponsorship-free TA with genuine value. Subscribe for a no BS approach that actually helps you. Subscribe. So here we are. Bitcoin US dollar index, and we are on the monthly chart. What you see on your chart right now are 4 white dotted lines, each representing the halving. Case in point, 2012, this dotted line is precisely when the halving happened. Fast forward to 2016, this white line is exactly when the halving happened. Fast forward 4 years to 2020, this white line represents the precise halving, as well as this one right here, the halving. That is right around the corner, quickly approaching, is right behind the closed hidden message lying in the chart back in 2012. In order for us to clearly understand the facts in the charts, especially in 2012, comparing 2012 halving to this halving right here, we need to break down the repeatable patterns that Bitcoin does time and time again. Let's take a quick look at what these patterns are, because they will repeat time and time again. What happens is we reach a market cycle top. Once we reach a market cycle top, we start our bear market. As we start our bear market, and as the bear market starts heating up, we always form a bull flag. A bull flag is represented at the top with resistance and at the bottom with support, and they are parallel channels that are pointing down. Case in point, a flag. This represents a bull flag, where you have resistance at multiple touch points at the top and support at multiple touch points at the bottom. Case in point, the next time we had our market cycle top was in 2013. We did the same thing. We formed a bull flag with, once again, resistance at the top, multiple touch points, support at the bottom, multiple touch points, parallel channels pointing down. Then you fast forward to the next cycle, and you look at the facts. We had our market cycle top, we started to move into a bear market, and we formed a bull flag. Resistance at the top, multiple touch points, support at the bottom, multiple touch points. And case in point, we did the same thing in our most recent cycle, forming a nice bull flag. Now, every single time Bitcoin breaks out of this bull flag with a golden cross. If you go to the daily chart and you put on the 50 MA and you put on the 200 MA, a golden cross is represented of the 50 MA moving back above the 200 moving average on the daily chart. Tilt your phone to the side and subscribe. This represents a huge shift in the momentum of the market. We had been in a bear market for multiple years. We move into this potential golden cross, which flips the market on its head, and we start our bullish momentum. So the golden cross literally broke us out of the bull flag. It did so here back in 2012. Fast forward 4 years later, the same thing happened. We were in this bull flag for quite a long time, and we broke out of it with quite literally a golden cross. Fast forward to the next 4 years, again, a bull flag broken out with a golden cross, and fast forward to our most recent cycle, it was no different. A lot of people will say, hey, Steve, this time is different. This time is more money. There's this, there's ICOs, whatever you name it. It's generally the synopsis of the market is, hey, Steve, there's more money coming in. So this time is different. It's repeatable patterns time and time again. The Golden Cross broke us out of the bull flag every single time, every 4 years. Same thing happens. So we had this bull flag, we broke out of it with the Golden Cross. What happens after is phase 1 builds market structure directly on top of the bottom, and phase 2 builds directly market structure on top of phase 1, and that happens as well. Now, as we get close to this halving, what you notice right on the screen are 7, not up for debate, 7 indistinguishable bull candles, green candles, leading into the halving. And you may say, well, we probably have 7 green candles in a row quite often. Actually, no. The facts are the facts, and it's only happened 2 times, and it hasn't happened in 12 years. Those are bona fide facts. The 2 times that Bitcoin has had it in its entire history where we had 7 consecutive green monthly candles, the first one, you have to go all the way back here to 2010, starting in January 2010. Let's take a look. Let's zoom in. So at the very beginning stages of Bitcoin, Bitcoin can barely crawl. It had 7 green candles in a row, and 2 of them are quite questionable candles. This one in March and this one in April. Very questionable candles. This looks like the stock market where you have gaps. That doesn't happen in crypto. Very questionable candles, but still we'll call them green candles. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. After the 7th candle printed, big red candle, although a bullish candle. You can see the body of this candle that wicked all the way down here, and you look at the thin body with a long wick to the downside. It tells you that there's buying pressure to the upside, and that's precisely what had followed. However, we fell in prices from the high here, and we fell all the way down 66% after that 7th candle. This is a bona fide fact. Now, if you look at the next time that Bitcoin had printed 7 green candles, look no further than March 2012, when we started our green candles in the midst of phase 1 of the bull. So phase 1 of the bull, March 2012, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and our 7th candle. What happened after our 7th candle? The market had fallen from our high price, and it fell about 40%. So the first time we had 7 candles, we fell 66%. The second time we fell 40%. Both times were followed by big red candles. And since then, Bitcoin has never printed 7 monthly candles in a row. We have printed 6 of them twice. We will cover that in a moment. But let's state the obvious to make sure everybody is on the same page. Bitcoin has just printed our 7th candle. We have not done that in 12 years. In fact, we have only done it twice. Both of them were right around the same time. 2010 and 2012. However, there's huge clues with this one. Why? Because we printed 7 green candles leading into the halving. This is key. What are we doing now? What are we about to have now? We're about to have the halving. What were we doing back here when we printed 7 green candles? We were about to have the halving. So we've got to compare apples to apples, right? We're going to look at this one because there are hidden clues inside, and we are going to decode these messages so that we can better understand our market cycle that we're in right now. Before we get to that, let's look at the 2 times where we posted 6 consecutive green candles, and let's look at what happened precisely after that 6th green candle was printed. Now, let's take a look right here. Right after we had this halving, right? 2012 halving. We had a green candle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles right here leading into a massive top. The market had fallen after that 6th candle was printed 70%. Now, I just want to state this again. We had 7 candles here, 66% correction. We had 7 candles here, 40% correction. We had 6 candles here, 70% correction. So after we print all of these beautiful bullish candles and the market is on fire, do we have like a 10 or 15% correction? No. It's a big one. It catches everybody by surprise. But this is the key. There's a lot of hidden messages in here. But again, we've got this one here, 6 in a row, represented quite literally a market cycle top. We were overextended beyond belief in the RSI. On the monthly chart, the RSI reached a high of about 97, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, right? So in other words, that represents quite literally one of the most overbought times in Bitcoin's history was on that 7th candle. Why is that important? Well, where we look at it now, we are the most overbought on the monthly scale that we've been quite literally since our market cycle top in 2021. We are heading into this red channel, which we'll get to in a moment, but this red channel represents incredible market structure, and we will cover that more in detail. But what I want to point out about the RSI is just this pattern that we're in right now, right? Undeniable. We've got a high back here in 2011. We have a lower high back here in 2013. We have another lower high back here in 2017, right? We have another lower high in 21. In other words, we have a descending channel here where there's parallel lines at the top and at the bottom, quite similarly to our bull flag, right? Where unfortunately it's pointed down, which tells us that our market cycle top that we could see this year or potentially next year, it's likely that that will occur somewhere near this white line. Why? Because that is the channel that we have been in for Bitcoin's entire history. It's also quite likely that our next market cycle bottom, our next bear market, will have even more blood in the streets than the other ones. Why? Because they keep getting worse with blood in the streets. We had our low here, we had a lower low here, a lower low here, and another lower low here. It's quite possible that our next bear market will have even another lower low, right? With even more blood in the streets, which represents unfortunately, oversold territory, which means the high majority of humans that will be in Bitcoin will sell at the bottom, unfortunately. Fortunately for us, unfortunately for them, unless hopefully they follow our channel, then we can try to talk some sense into them. But again, having this parallel channel is incredibly helpful. We can use this as a bona fide tool going forward. So we covered the first time that Bitcoin had done 6 in a row, and we covered what happened after that, a 70% ridiculous correction from the pivot high down to that next candle. So that next candle is usually, a pretty loud one. So in simple terms, Bitcoin has done 7 candles twice, and it's done 6 candles twice. The second time we did 6 was quite literally on our way to our market cycle top. It started in phase 3. Phase 3 started that bullish candle, and we were talking about October 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, until March 2021 top. 6 green candles in a row, followed by one huge red candle. That red candle went from its high to its low of 30%. So that next candle was a 30% correction, which is slightly better than what we've seen so far. Given 4 data points, we have a 70%, we have a 40%, we have another 70%, and then we had a 30-something%. So what we see happening is after every single stanza of these green candles that are printing one after another, after another, after another. Once we have the market on fire, the market is overextended and our green candles are piling up, it's quite likely that the next candle will be red, and red with authority. We can say that with certainty based on our data points. But again, there's probability in trading. There are no certainties. Tilt your phone to the side and subscribe. What I'm saying is we can say with certainty based on the facts that out of the 4 data points, it's been a red candle after all 4. We can say that with certainty. Can we say that that means we're going to print a red candle next? Now? Not quite. We need to uncover some more facts about heading into a halving, printing 7 consecutive green candles, which is what we did in 2012. And as we look into this further, we can say, all right, Bitcoin is heading into a halving. We've had 7 green candles in a row. Is there a chance at all that we can print 8? Absolutely. However, we need to take in consideration out of Bitcoin's entire history, including the most bullish parts of all of our history in the beginning, Bitcoin has never had 8 in a row. Never. There were 2 times we had 7. Right after that, we had a huge red candle. There were 2 times we had 6. Right after that, a red candle. We're at 7 now. Could we have 8? Sure. Is it likely? Not likely. It's not likely, just based on the facts. This is not an opinion. So when you look at it, you can say, okay, if this were a red candle, what could it look like? Well, we've got to go back and start to decode this message here. So when you look at 2012, we had our bull flag, we had our golden cross, we had phase 1, we had phase 2, and in the middle of phase 1 and 2, right in the middle, we started this journey of 7 green candles. Keep in mind, the first 3 were not very bullish. They were right inside of phase 1. The 4th candle, slightly bullish, tried to break us out of phase 1. It couldn't. The 5th candle is the one that took us from phase 1 into phase 2. And then the market had our 5th, our 6th, and our 7th. The 6th candle was the most bullish candle, right? It followed up our 5th candle, which was quite literally our breakout of phase 1 into phase 2, followed by the highest candle. And our 7th candle was not much to really look at, right? It all happened on our 6th candle. We created this high, and then we had this huge wick to the upside. And that huge wick represented people taking profits, okay? At that point, we had 6 in a row. We had a large wick to the upside representing critical market resistance. That wick got us to the body of this and the body of this, and we were met with heavy selling pressure. There was a lot of people that took profits at this area, hence the large wick. That's why the 7th candle didn't have a lot of momentum left. It was all taken away with the 6th candle. Leading into that 8th candle, this red one, was a small body because we were inside of phase 2. We already established our market cycle top. We had already established our market cycle bottom inside of phase 2. And we were so bullish that this red candle was a thin body red candle. It didn't have a huge wick to the downside. Yes, we had a little wick, right? But it wasn't an extensive wick to the downside. It represented a small thin body with a larger wick to the downside, which told us that there was more buying pressure coming in at the bottom in this wick, which leading into the actual halving event, we did have a green candle. Another thing to look at is this little pattern you see here, right? There are precisely 4 halvings in front of our eyes, one of which didn't happen yet, 3 of which did. The first one, green candle, 2012, fact. Next one, red candle, 2016. Next one, green candle, 2020. In other words, green candle, red candle, green candle. What do you think's coming next? What does the pattern say? So when you look at the facts, you understand, okay, back here in 2012, times were slightly different. We were moving from phase 1 into phase 2. We were bullish, yes, although the 7th candle, not so bullish. The red candle pushed price back up. Then we had the halving. Then we broke out of phase 2 into phase 3. And again, phase 3 flirts real hard with the all-time high or makes an all-time high, and that was short-lived. Phase 3 was explosive, and then we were met with resistance here, and then we moved into phase 4, the most explosive part of the rally. So when you look at it, you say, okay, 7 green candles in a row. It's likely we're going to see a red month, but how big could this red month be? What are the clues? When you look at how high Bitcoin has rallied and how overextended the market is, especially on the weekly chart, and you look at the monthly chart was trying to move into this red zone and was met with heavy resistance, and you factor all of that in, one could say, hey, we should be prepared for a red month in this month, in the halving month. However, we could do something out of the ordinary, something that Bitcoin has never seen before, something that Bitcoin could never do in its 14-year history, which is print the 8th green candle in a row. The 8th green candle in a row would literally bring us into this red zone, which would be phenomenal. Tilt your phone to the side and subscribe. This red zone should be incredibly strong resistance, which is why you've seen action already start to pivot away from it. If you just look at structurally, we had this structure here and here, which represents some resistance. We had this pivot point here and here, which further amplifies the significance of here. And then we have this pivot point from here and here, representing even further evidence that this red channel is nothing to play with. So when you take it all into consideration, I think we need to be very, very appreciative that Bitcoin has given us 7 green candles in a row. For us to be greedy and expect an 8th would be unreasonable. We should expect a red candle. We should expect Bitcoin to catch its breath after having literally the strongest move in 12 years. We haven't had 7 consecutive candles since 2012 leading into the halving. What's really cool about all of this data is that Bitcoin has just printed its 7th green candle for the 3rd time in history. All 3 of them have happened before the halving. 2 times in history, Bitcoin has printed 6 consecutive green candles. Both of those have happened after the halving. Very interesting information. What is also interesting is last week, I took a look at when the exact date of the halving would be. And at the time I researched it, it told me that it would happen on 4/20, which, you know, Grandma Betty is probably going crazy on 4/20. You know, Elon's probably got those tweets lined up about 4/20. I just looked before filming this and they changed the date. Right now it's projected to happen on April 17th. When you take all that into consideration, it's important to note the weekly chart and the movements that we see happening there, which we illustrated in a previous video. Make sure you go watch that video, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you right back here in the next video. Peace and love to the fellow underdogs. Do you want less stress and more success in crypto? Click this video right now.